Hi folks, thanks for stopping by. Hello and welcome to the 12th episode of I Like Big Boats and I Cannot Lie. Hard to believe I've done a dozen of these. Let's get right to it. This week starts on November 30th and ends on December 6th. Lots to discuss today, so let's dive right in. We'll start in 1942 with the launching of USS Mingo, SS-261, a Gato-class boat named for the Mingo snapper, which is apparently a fish native to the western Atlantic Ocean. Mingo, laid in March by Electric Boat of Groton, Connecticut, was sponsored by Mrs. Henry L. Pence. I sadly could not find anything about her. I always try to find something about the sponsor, even if it's just wife of, etc. USS Golay, SS-361, was commissioned 1 year later in 1943. Interesting bit about her, Golay was supposed to be built as a Baleo class, but her builder, Manitowoc Shipbuilding, didn't receive the drawings from Electric Boat in time to build her, so she was made as a Gato-class sub instead. Her career was tragically short-lived, ending in 1944 after being sunk by a Japanese vessel. USS Henry Clay, SSBN 625, was launched November 30th, 1962, sponsored by Mrs. Anna Gratz Nanny Gibson. She was a Lafayette submarine built by Newport News Shipping and Dry Dock Company. Her motto was Preservation of the Nation. I don't think we had a single model last video, so it's nice to get one here. 1 year later, the USS Stonewall Jackson, SSBN 634, was launched from Mare Island Naval Shipyard in Vallejo, California. Her sponsor, Miss Julian Christian McAfee, was the great-granddaughter of General Jackson, the boat's namesake. Stoney J's motto was Strength, Mobility, 2 out of 10. With that, November swiftly leaves us, and we're into December, my favorite month. We have 2 Seawolves on this day, SS-28 being the first, commissioned on December 1st, 1913. She had been built and laid down by the Union Iron Works of San Francisco, California, and renamed H-1 before her launching in 1913, but she was still a Seawolf, first of her name. The next Seawolf was SS-197, a Sargo-class boat commissioned in 1939 with Lieutenant Frederick B. Warder in command. Warder was a highly decorated submarine officer in World War II, 2-time recipient of the Navy Cross, 4-time recipient of the Legion of Merit. He commanded 197 through 7 of her 15 war patrols, earning the nickname Fearless Freddy in the process. Bit of a weird fact, her war patrols can apparently be reenacted in the 1985 computer game Silent Service. The USS Diablo, SS-479, was launched on this day in 1944. She had been built by Portsmouth Navy Yard, and her sponsor was the wife of U.S. Navy Captain V.D. Chapline. She served in the U.S. Navy until 1963 when, as part of the Security Assistance Program, she was given to Pakistan to become their first fast attack submarine. In 1949, the keel was laid for USS Trout, SS-566, built by Electric Boat. She was a Tang-class sub, second of her name. Tang-class submarines were the first ones built and designed by the Navy after World War II. Though test depth for their predecessors, the Barracuda class, had been restricted to 400 feet, Tang's innovations and modifications vastly expanded their depth to 700 feet. They could sail along at 15.5 knots, surfaced, 18.3 submerged, powered first by 4 General Motors 16 3088 Pancake diesel engines, then replaced by 3 Fairbanks Morse 38D8s TAC-18 opposed piston engines. USS Thomas A. Edison, SSBN 610, was decommissioned in 1983. She was struck from the Naval Vessel Register in April of 1986 and entered the Ship and Submarine Recycling Program at Puget Sound Naval Shipyard in Bremerton, Washington on the 1st of October 1996. The recycling completed on the 1st of December 1997. Edison was the only submarine to have an elevator installed, one used by President John F. Kennedy, whose back injury prevented him from using the vertical ladders. This elevator can be found at the USS Nautilus Museum in Groton. It also apparently had a Steinway piano installed. The commissioning captain, Charles M. Young, purchased the piano and had it placed aboard before the hull was sealed, and it stayed there right up until decommissioning. I am confused by that, but you know what, good for them. I'd also like to point out that her motto was Latin for power to repel the darkness, and I think that is both awesome and fitting. On the 2nd of December, we jump back to 1943 and the keel laying of the Baleo-class USS Capitaine SS 336. She was built by Electric Boat. In 1964, the USS Sam Rayburn, SSBN 635, a James Madison-class fleet ballistic missile submarine, was commissioned by Newport News Shipbuilding and Drydock Company. At the time of her commissioning, Captain Oliver H. Perry Jr. commanded the Blue Crew, and Commander William A. Williams III commanded the Gold. Are you serious? William A. Williams III? Anyway, Sam Rayburn now sits at the Naval Nuclear Powered Training Unit at Goose Creek, South Carolina, as a moored training vessel. Her motto is, first in its class. 4 years later, USS Seacat, SS-399, was decommissioned and struck from the Naval Vessel Register. She had been operating off Key West since the 30th of October. In 1973, she was sold for scrap. USS Dace was decommissioned and stricken from the Naval Vessel Register on the 2nd of December in 1988. She entered the Ship and Submarine Recycling Program soon after. Recycling was completed on January 1st, 1997. On the 3rd of December, I have a handful, starting with USS Halibut, SS-232, launched in 1941. Halibut, a Gato-class sub, was sponsored by Mrs. P.T. Blackburn. Next is USS Harder, SS-568, built by Electric Boat, launched on this date in 1951. Her sponsor was K. Logan Cole, widow of Lieutenant S.M. Logan, the executive officer aboard the previous U.S. Harder, SS-257, lost during World War II. Sam Rayburn is back, this time with her keel laying in 1962. She was named for the 43rd Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives from 1940 to 47, 49 to 53, and 53 to 61. Rayburn was born in Tennessee in 1882 and served from Texas's 4th and 34th districts. USS Francis Scott Key, SSBN 657, shows up for the first time. She'll show up later again this week. With her commissioning in 1966, Captain Frank W. Graham commanded the Blue Crew, while Lieutenant Joseph B. Logan commanded the Gold. Key, as with most or all ballistic missile submarines, had the standard 2 crews, enabling the boat to go out on longer missions. Virginia boats, I love them. USS Mississippi, SSN 782, was the star of the show in 2011 at her christening at Electric Boat. Allison Stiller, Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Navy, is her sponsor. She is a beautiful Block II fast attack sub based out of Naval Station Pearl Harbor Hickam with the motto, by valor and arms. Speaking of Virginias, we have a Block 3, the USS Colorado, SSN 788, christened in 2016 by Annie Mavis, daughter of former Navy Secretary Ray Mavis. She's also home-ported at Pearl Harbor Hickam, and her motto is, by land and sea, untamed. I love that one. Let's just start December 4th off with a bang, shall we? USS Bang, that is. Please don't unsubscribe. Please don't. This Baleo-class sub, SS-385, was commissioned on this date in 1943, with Lieutenant Anton R. Gallagher in command. Bang would be decommissioned in 1947, recommissioned in 1951, and then finally decommissioned for good in 1972 before being transferred to Spain. On this day in 1944, USS Audax, SS-484, was laid by Portsmouth Navy Yard in Kittery. Audax would be transferred to Brazil in 1972. USS Barbell SS-580 was decommissioned on this day in 1989. After the sail and superstructure were removed, the people scrapping her discovered a shitload of painted-over asbestos insulation. That is nasty stuff. Abatement is expensive, dangerous, and time-consuming. Do not play with it. Briefly, she got to play a role in the 1995 movie Crimson Tide, with a brand new sail made from plywood. After 8 years, she returned to the Navy, who sank her as a target off the California coast in January of 2001. Though I am unsure if they completed asbestos abatement before then, so all that stuff might be in the water. USS Hartford, SSN 768, shows up this week and next. This week is for her launching, sponsored by Mrs. Laura O'Keefe, wife of former Secretary of the Navy Sean O'Keefe. She is, yes, is, a Los Angeles submarine homeported in New London, Connecticut, and her motto is, "Damn the torpedoes, full speed ahead." On December 5th, 1959, the USS Sea Dragon, SSN 584, was commissioned, with Lieutenant Commander George P. Steele in command. Sea Dragon had apparently collided with a whale during her sea trials, which caused minor damage. I wonder how Commander Steele felt knowing his new ride already had body damage straight from the manufacturer. And now we get to talk about the very special boat. USS Jimmy Carter, SSN 23, third and longest of the 3 Seawolf-class submarines, was laid down on this date by General Dynamics Electric Boat in 1998. Electric Boat was handed $887 million to modify the Carter to test new submarine systems and support classified missions previously carried out by USS Parche. During this time, 100 feet of hull section was added, which forms a multi-mission platform capable of doing all kinds of secret stuff I don't know anything about, and don't care to. Jimmy Carter is homeported at Naval Base Kitsap Bangor, and her motto is, always the best. Last for this date is Mighty Mo, the USS Missouri, SSN 780, christened on this date in 2009 by Rebecca W. Gates, wife of Secretary of Defense Robert Gates. Mighty Mo is homeported at Pearl Harbor Hickam, and her motto is, united we stand, divided we fall. December 6th starts out in 1953 with the commissioning of the USS Albacore, AGSS 569, a unique research submarine whose first commander was Lieutenant Commander Kenneth C. Gummerson. Her motto was, Forerunner of the Future. USS Queenfish, SSN 651, is up next, second of her name, commissioned on this date in 1966. She was commissioned 3 months ahead of schedule, and I don't know how that happens. Her motto was French for Queen of the Sea. USS Gurnard, SSN 662, a Sturgeon-class submarine, was commissioned in 1968. Her motto was Latin for From the Depths. Lastly, we have the USS San Juan, SSN 751. She was launched in 1986, sponsored by Mrs. Cheryl Hernandez, wife of Vice Admiral Diego E. Hernandez, the first Hispanic American named Vice Commander of NORAD. That is all I have for you this week. I hope your coming week is wonderful, and I hope this video bored you to sleep. That's all for now. Take care, and I'll see you next time.